very much for joining us for today's chat. Looking forward to discussing more about financial inclusion and financial wellness. And I think we're going to start with introduction, and I would like Sheila to introduce herself, and then we'll go to Cathy next.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity, and greetings to all the viewers. My name is Sheila Mmboga. I am a financial literacy advocate, an entrepreneurship coach, economist, and data analyst, and of course the founder of Financial Wellness Center. And it is my pleasure to be on this platform tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sheila. Cathy, yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Kelvin, for having me. My name is Cathy Sibanda from Botswana. I'm the founder of the Financial Literacy Trust, which is an organization that was founded in 2016 with a vision to raise a financially literate generation. I'm very passionate about financial literacy, and I believe in financial literacy for all. So we provide financial literacy solutions for all age groups, from kids who are as young as 3 years old, primary, junior, secondary, university students, and various adult groups, including pensioners. So basically, we provide financial literacy to everyone. And because of my financial literacy work, I've been involved in a lot of international conferences. I'm an Obama leader. I'm an ambassador for One Young World. Yes.
Yeah, which I'm also an ambassador as well.
Yes, and last year also I was nominated by Facebook as part of the 40 Icons of Change for Africa, basically based on my financial literacy work.
Wow, this is quite amazing. And Sheila also been doing quite a lot of work. Sheila, could you just give us a brief on what you've been doing in financial wellness center, and also I think we're definitely going to talk about your new project that you just launched. Please, you can tell us more what you've been doing in financial literacy.
For Financial Wellness Center, we focus on bringing financial education through various digital channels to ensure that we have accessibility and flexibility, definitely for individuals and businesses. Of course, Financial Wellness Center started in 2019, and so far we do host monthly WhatsApp classes every month. And since inception of that concept or idea, we have trained over 2,000 plus people. This is including businesses on financial education and various business models. And recently we just started the Entrepreneurs Academy, which we are focusing on helping both potential and veteran entrepreneurs get to learn various business models, business strategies, business dynamics they can apply to actualize their business ideas, and also apply in their ongoing business to ensure that they are experiencing customer satisfaction, brand preference, and definitely they are making profits from their passion.
Okay.
So yes.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. I mean, Cathy, what are some of the things that actually you're doing in Botswana and also in the southern, the southern region? Because I know once somebody's in Botswana, they're actually able to even service, almost other countries like Zambia, which is Zimbabwe, and even South Africa as well.
Yes. So basically, what we do is, like I've already said, we have initiatives for all age groups. When I started Financial Literacy Trust, part of the vision was I wanted to plant national chapters in countries that do not have financial literacy initiatives at all. And I've just rolled that, and I have a few people that I'm working with to start chapters in other countries. And then part of our strategy also is to provide or to set up financial literacy clubs in schools. So we go to universities, teach them about financial literacy, set up the clubs. And the reason why we did that is, I don't know if it's the same with Kenya, but here in Botswana, students are given allowances by government, which is 1,400 kula, maybe around more than 100 USD. And you'll find out most of the time, I mean, the expectation is we expect each and every person to be able to manage their finances when they've not been taught how to manage their money. So you will find out that even when I was a student, you have students who cannot manage their monthly allowances. They end up going to get loans from loan sharks because the money is not enough. So that is why when we go to tertiary schools, we also set up clubs so that there's continual learning of financial literacy. And I think Sheila can also agree with me that we live at a time where financial literacy is important to everyone. It's a critical subject. So regardless of whether you are literate or illiterate, whether you are young or old, whether you are a man or a woman, whether you are black or white, financial literacy is very important. And we teach financial literacy based on the 10 pillars. So the 10 pillars of financial literacy, maybe that will cover later on, but we teach the 10 pillars of financial literacy. And from the 10 pillars, you basically see that financial literacy is more than just talking about money. We talk about financial psychology. We talk about your behavior. We talk about you understanding why you pay tax. We talk about you saying, okay, I earn so much and I'm not happy. If you're not happy with what you are earning, what are you doing? Are you upskilling yourself? Are you doing any courses? Yes, basically that's what we do. So the 10 pillars of financial literacy covers other aspects that helps a person to build their wellness and build their money skills.
Okay, I think that's really good, and I think it also lays a very good platform on what you want to discuss today. And I mean, in our, I think our main subject today, we were saying, is it? I mean, at this particular time, where we're experiencing pandemic and all that kind of stuff, is it good for us to save? Is it good for us to invest, or is it just good for us to hit the savings? So maybe I'll start with Sheila. What do you think would be the best thing? Should I save the little money that I have? Should I invest? And last time actually we also talked about something. We talked about emergency fund, which I think Cathy also will also tell us about that. So maybe you can tell us, what do you guys think? Should we just eat our money that we have? Should we invest in something? And what is that we can invest into? Or should we just save? Or we just eat, and when it finishes, we just pray that God provides?
What I would say first, there's a difference between saving and investing.
Yeah,
when you
exactly.
save, when you decide to save, it means you are saving towards something, either creating an emergency fund or you are saving towards a future purchase. So with the current pandemic, again, I would say if you do not have an emergency fund, you should start focusing on creating one, because we do not know until when this pandemic will end. So if you have an emergency fund already, remember an emergency fund should be able to cater you for at least 3 to 6 months or more. Now, if you have an emergency fund, then this is the time you can take advantage of investing, because we see the markets like the stock market. Shares are going down. They're selling at a throwaway price. So if you do have the financial capacity, then it's the right time to invest. Other than that, use whatever you have, budget for it, ensure you are able to use it in a way that is going to take you far, for the whole pandemic season. But don't rush to invest with grocery money. It's basically a time for you to ensure you are surviving and maybe setting up your financial foundations.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think about that, Cathy? I mean, the same thing. What do you think?
Okay, I think she's already talked about investing, that if people are to invest, they can invest on, because majority of shares are obviously going down. But I think this is time also for people to really be taking care of their money. The reason why I'm saying that is, if we look at the trend with what has been happening, is either people are out of work, you're not working at all, maybe you've been laid off, or if you're working, it means maybe you are getting half a salary, Or we have people who work in informal sectors. People work in informal sectors have been home for 2 months or a month. That means they have no income at all. So if we look at all those circumstances, it means people should learn now to take care of the little that they have. And how do they do that? To cut on, make sure that they identify their necessities. What is it that you need for survival? Most of the time when we talk about a budget, people should make sure that they differentiate between needs and wants. Wants are things that we like to have, but you can live without. And needs are things you need for survival. So this is not the period to be investing in wants. This is not the time to be spending most of your money in things that you can survive without. But we should focus on necessities, because we are not really sure how long the pandemic is going to last. And then the other thing that people can do is to review their spending habits. We've been home, maybe here in Botswana, we've been home for more than 28 days. And it means this month I didn't maybe pay for fuel or pay for combi if I use combi to go to work. Or maybe I didn't pay for my gym. So instead of people just celebrating and taking this money, using it for other things, they can take that money and start on building their emergency fund, start on saving. This is to say, I didn't spend on this, I didn't go to work, I didn't buy lunch at work. So because I'm home, let me use the little that I have and save. So each and every person should make sure that they use any opportunity that they have to save their money.
Yeah.
Basically that. And review spending habits is very important, cutting on costs so that they are able to increase on their spending.
Yeah, I mean, looking at. Yeah, I mean, looking at what did yeah, you can go ahead.
Yes, I was saying I don't know if I should touch on an emergency fund.
Yeah, please touch on that as well.
Yes. So basically, an emergency fund is a fund that people keep money that you are going to do should anything happen that you did not plan for, like this corona pandemic. No, even when we first saw in the news, we never thought this was going to reach Africa or even Southern Africa where I am. So what people should be doing is to have an emergency fund. So the rule of the thumb with an emergency fund is you should keep money that is equal 6 months of your monthly expenses. So let me break it down so that each and every person watching this can understand. So if my monthly expenses are 100 USD, it means my emergency fund should have 100 times 6. So normally when you talk like that, people think, where will I get the 600 USD? But you shouldn't really focus on the bigger figure that you want to achieve. But an emergency fund is something that you build over time. And where do you keep your emergency fund? Because this is the money that you are keeping for emergencies, it should be in an account that you can easily get your money without having to wait for a long period of time. So keep it in a bank account so that it earns an interest for you, but make sure that it's an account that you are able to reach to when you need to get your money.
Yes. So is this going to be like a fixed account, like maybe a 6 months fixed account, or can it be a current account whereby actually I can just withdraw my money?
I wouldn't really advise using a current account because current accounts normally incur monthly charges. So you will see that you'll be thinking you are keeping money there, but the money will be deducted for your monthly charges. So it should specifically be a savings account. You can decide whether it's a fixed account or not. But the main highlight is the account should allow you to get the money when you want to get it. And the reason why we keep it in a savings account, not under mattress at home, is we want the money to earn interest. If I keep my money at home for 6 months, it's still going to be the 600 USD. But if I keep it in a savings account, after a period of time, the money would have earned a bit of interest for me.
Yeah, I mean, Sheila, do you think it would be an appropriate thing to, let's say, more like, I don't want to use the word gamble, but probably, if I have an emergency fund, for example, put money there, do you think I can decide and say, okay, let me get that money and put in a stock that looks very futuristic, and then I just put it in the stock? Do you think that's something that would work?
No, you shouldn't take risk with the emergency fund. And as Cathy just said, you need to put it in an account that is easily accessible, that can still earn you some interest. So,
exactly.
When you are investing is a risky affair. And when you invest the stock market. Remember, the stock market is a highly volatile market or investment. You might be a millionaire when you invest in the stock market. You might be a millionaire now. In the next 30 minutes, something happens in the market, and that stock that you bought goes down. That means that the money you had invested, let's say the emergency fund you had invested in the stock market, it goes down or you lose it. So it's very advisable for you to not invest with emergency fund, especially in stock market, because the stock market is highly volatile, highly risky. You may earn now and in the next 5 hours you're losing everything. So emergency fund, it either stays in an account that can earn you interest yet easily accessible. Just from the word emergency, we don't plan for emergencies, but when it happens, we need to have accessibility to that fund.
I mean, what do you think about that, Cathy? I mean, that's what the same thing I was asking Sheila. I mean, if I have some money in an emergency fund, and I look at a lucrative kind of investment, I say, can I put that money there for like 6 months or maybe even 1 month? You know, like there's things like some really, really good looking stock market. There's some really, really good looking unit fund. Money market fund as well. I mean, they're different, very, very nicely packaged investment opportunity that I would invest short time and still get some money. So do you think that's really taking risk or do you think that's something that somebody can think through?
Okay, first and foremost, when you decide to invest, you should be having what we call risk capital. So risk capital is money that you can afford to lose without suffering any financial repercussions. So money that you are saying, I can be able to lose, even if I lose this money, I can still survive. And then the other important thing, when you decide to invest, we look at what we call investment horizon. Let's say I have money that I want to invest and use next year. I wouldn't go for the stock market because the stock market normally takes a very long time for you to start realizing returns. So an investment horizon is important because that is going to guide on whether you should invest maybe in real estate or go to the stock market. So an investment horizon is it long term? Is it short term? Is it medium term? So if I have money that I want to access next year, it means whatever I decide to invest in should be something that will allow me to be able to get my money next year. Then if I have money that I want to use in 15 years' time, then I'll decide to go for an investment that will take a long time to mature. But the most important thing is when you decide to invest is that you should be having what we call risk capital.
Yeah. Let's get away from that jargon a little bit and then just come back to, simple step of financial literacy. And I think that's something that we face a lot in Africa is that our kids growing up don't really have a lot of strong financial literacy. Do you think it's quite important, and at what age should kids start learning about money and also learning about saving and investing and all that? What age do you think is appropriate, and what is the southern region doing differently? Like maybe what's Botswana doing? I mean, the fact that you said most of the schools actually given some little money and all that. What are they doing in that to make sure that actually these kids can actually start saving the little? And the same thing also with Sheila. What do you think would be the best age where kids can start saving, and what are some of the advice that the parents need to start giving to their kids so that they can be able to start saving?
Okay, first and foremost, financial literacy is important to everyone. And I would say, personally with me, I grew up in a home where I was never taught about money. Money was never a subject of discussion at home. And I believe I made my mistakes and learned from them. Research has actually proven that financial mindsets are developed from a very young age. So you can teach a child who is 3 years old about money, they can learn and understand. So kids should be taught about money from a very young age. And how do people do that? When people sit at home, let's say people sit at home, a family, each and every month when they sit and do their budget, they should involve their kids. Just that most of the time, people do not think kids do not appreciate when they are taught about money. The reason why kids should be involved in money decisions is if there is a project that we are currently working on and the kids are not involved, they are going to keep on demanding things. But if they are in they understand that this is what we are currently working on. They will understand that our budget is tight because there's a project that we are focusing on. And I'll say in the southern region, financial literacy is still at an infancy stage because, number one, we are not taught about money at schools. Kids are not taught financial literacy as part of the school curriculum. So there's still a lot of work to be done around teaching kids about money and making sure that they understand what financial literacy is. And then when we go to here, we have junior secondary schools and senior secondary schools. So when you go to junior secondary schools, we have subjects like accounting, commerce, although those are optional subjects. And then you go to senior school, you have the same subjects. So it means it's very possible for you to have a student who starts from grade 1, finishes up to university without having been taught about money, without knowing anything to do with money. If I start from my primary school, then junior school, I don't do accounting, I don't do any commerce-related subjects. Then I go to university and study engineering or nursing or anything in the medical field. It means that child will never know anything about money. And the consequences of that is we have a lot of people who are living from paycheck to paycheck. You have students who are already highly indebted. Imagine a student who is earning an allowance and they're already highly indebted because they don't know how to take care of their money. So I believe there is a lot that can be done if we can have governments introducing financial literacy as part of the school curricula, where kids are taught and tested on financial literacy. That is the only way we can have a difference or have all our kids understanding what financial literacy is and how to take care of their money from a young age.
Exactly. What's your perspective, Sheila, as well?
What I would like to just highlight is that, when we are growing up in the African setup, whenever our parents or the elder people wanted to speak about money, they would tell the kids to go outside, right? So we have grown up with a very poor mindset towards money that we need to now start readjusting this mindset from tender age, from the generation that is now like the kids now. So what I would say is that I wouldn't say there's a specific age to start teaching money, because I was reading something about Suzuki where he had started training 6-month-old kids about music by playing tapes, musical tapes to them. And by the time these kids reached 6 years, they could sing this song fluently. So when you apply that when it comes to financial education, it's very important as a parent, as a guardian, as an adult, to start bringing the money topic to your kids in whatever age they are in, even if it's 1 year. Start introducing them to the money environment. So by the time this child gets to speak, to go to school, they have an idea of what money is. So when we start from the family unit, for example, if you are a parent and you just had a baby, when this child starts to let's say 9 months, they are trying to learn, play for them tapes. I believe there are tapes that teach about money for kids. Start playing those tapes to them instead of just Tom and Jerry all the time. You could incorporate that, so that by the time this child gets to kindergarten, they already know what money is, and then it becomes easier for for us financial educators to step in, and the child starts from kindergarten age 3 or 4 going upwards.
And Sorry, and yeah, I mean, just to get in, and one of the things that I think we also do have, even in our African setup, is, and I see that a lot. Like when we were growing up, you're given money to take as an offering. You give that kid, the offering to take there. So which means the kids learns that, oh, so this is money. I need to actually take it to church. So I think probably that also is something that, how do we apply that money? Like, hey, this is money, I need to save it. The same way, hey, this is 50 shillings, or this is 10 rand, please take it to the church basket. So again, how do we, start having that kind of conversation also with them as well, in terms of, okay, this is 10 rand, please save it.
I would say to incorporate that, start with simple things like put the grocery budget under your kids. Let them be responsible for the grocery budget in your kitchen. If, let's say, you have a 7-year-old, if they are able to go in the kitchen and tell you, mommy or daddy, there are no vegetables, there is no cooking on. Now, let them learn to create a budget from the kitchen side. So if they can go to the kitchen and write down for you all the things that are not available, the next thing is for you to teach them how to do shopping, creating a shopping list. Now, you see, when you start introducing them to that, if you do it for like 1 year, this child will now be able to come up with a solid budget. It could be just for the kitchen, not for the whole house yet. So you see, because kids learn not by telling them, but by imitating what we do.
Exactly.
So if I am,
oh, sorry, just go ahead. I wanted to ask, yeah, just go ahead, sorry.
So what I'm saying is, if we as a family, we are sitting down and we are creating a budget, maybe for the house, for the grocery and all that, then we delegate each category to our kids. They're going to learn the basics of money, and the skills are going to be incorporated in them because they will be doing it, not just you doing and telling them I'm doing that.
Yeah. I mean, Cathy, what would be your perception in terms of, creating a budget? Do you think that's something that's important? What's the process? I know Sheila's told us quite a lot of stuff, but a typical family budget, because I know most families don't create budget. They just, the budget that's created is when, or maybe they're building or something, but rarely family has like, okay, this year we need to spend this much. This is our budget for 1 month. What do you think of the importance of creating monthly budget for families? And do you think that's going to save some money from the family, the fact that they create a budget?
Okay, a budget is very important and very critical. So we can never really talk about taking care of your finances without talking about a budget. So a budget is what is always going to show you that you are now overspending, or you are using money that was intended for something else for a totally different thing. So when you do a budget, it's important that you understand what are the needs and the wants of the family. And before we talk about the needs and wants, you look at your income streams. How much income does the family have? Then from your income, that is where you are going to be building on your expenses, looking at your needs. What is it that you need? And most importantly, the budget should always have a portion that is allocated towards your investments and savings, all the time. And then with your savings, you can have 3 types. You can have short-term savings. Short-term savings can be for things like you are paying for your school fees, or let's say it's festive and you know that you have to pay for school fees in January, you will save for that. And then we have long-term savings. So long-term savings can always be maybe from January, I know that at the end of the year I want to go for a vacation and I'm going to save for that. And then we've already talked about an emergency fund. So a budget should always have your expenses, obviously, which most people spend a bulk of their money in, and then have something that you allocate towards your savings and something that you allocate towards investments. So investments should always be part of a budget because that is the money that is going to, you are going to use the money that you are keeping and you are going to use in the future. And when you build a budget, be consistent and take baby steps. And remember, your budget is unique to you. Don't be too hard on yourself. I've seen a lot of people who say, I want to start on budgeting, and maybe you've been buying lunch at work daily, and you start saying, I'm not going to be buying any lunch at work completely. I'm going to take from food from home. And if you do that, obviously you are going to fail. So make sure it's something that you are trying to build a habit. So you can start
It's
by
a habit
saying,
you're building, yeah.
Yes, you can start by saying, I'll be buying food maybe twice a week. Then the rest of the days, I'll be picking food from home. You do it until it becomes a part from you. And I always tell people that a budget is based on your discipline. You can sit with the best financial advisors in the whole world, but if you are not financially disciplined, you will sit and talk and you still go back to your habits. So people should be disciplined, and a budget should be a greater part of your financial discipline. Anytime you have money, before you can think of going to the stores, make sure that you sit first and you build a budget. And the majority of people, not only Africans, I've met a lot of people who say, I do my budget on the head. There is nothing like that. If you are doing your budget on the head, then you are deceiving yourself. The reason why a budget should be well written is it allows you to be able to track yourself. If now I want to see how I've been spending my money since the beginning of the year, I can go to my budget and see, okay, January, this is what I bought. February, this is what I bought. March. But if you are budgeting on your head, you're not going to remember anything. And if you are keeping a budget, you are able to track your spending, maybe see what you are spending most of your money in, and then you can decide maybe to cut on that and put that money towards savings. So a budget should be written down all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
A budget should be written down. Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's quite important thing, and we also have to look at also the discipline aspect that you say. If I have a budget, can I be able to be disciplined enough to not tempted to overspend, impulse buying, and all those kind of stuff. And before we jump to the next question that I would like to throw to you ladies, I think Sebele just asked a question here. I'm sure you can be able to read it from your side. And Sabella is saying, since financial literacy and emotional intelligence are said to be twined, in bracket linked, what measures can you advise one to put in place so that they can process the emotional and not make spontaneous decisions regarding their ways of spending, especially during this COVID pandemic? What do you think about that, Cathy? And I think maybe Sheila also will jump in.
Okay, financial literacy and emotional intelligence. That's a very good combination. When the COVID-19 started spreading, and now governments in Africa were now taking actions, we are seeing there was a lot of fear spreading. So when lockdowns were announced in many countries, including what was happening here in my country, in Botswana, you see now people are just doing what we call panic buying. And that is obviously not emotional intelligence. So someone will go to the shop, and when they come out, they'll be having 4 trolleys of things that they are not going to need. Or even if you know that every month you buy groceries and it will just be in 1 trolley. But because there was so much fear surrounding COVID-19 and lockdown, people were even spending more money than what they spend on a monthly basis. So even if we are in this period where a lot of things are uncertain, so people should still use emotional intelligence. When you go to buy, sit down and do your budget. What is it that you need to buy, and what is it that you don't need to buy? And part of emotional intelligence is knowing that this is not the time to be investing in things that you don't need for now. So make sure that you're investing in your necessities only. Yes, no matter how much fear you have or you really feel under pressure that you end up buying a lot of things. Just make sure that you stick to the necessities and you don't buy things that you don't need.
Yeah, what do you think, Sheila?
I think emotional intelligence has more to do with your mindset about money. Because when the pandemic began, as Cathy said, a lot of people did panic shopping. And I can guarantee you most people, they ended up throwing most of the things they bought because they got expired, or they bought perishable products in large amounts. So What is important now is for you to identify your needs and wants. Then once you identify that, create a budget based on the needs. You see, this is not the time to start buying that thing you've been wanting that is not really helpful. It's like avoiding buying food to buy a designer bag. It's not really helping you in this pandemic. So for this season, it's important for us to list down our needs and our wants, then create a budget based on the needs. And another thing just to highlight, whenever you're going to shop, either in a supermarket or in any market, ensure you carry a shopping list just to avoid doing impulse purchases on things you really don't need them. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's very key that you know, we get to understand that, because during this pandemic, I think a lot of decisions need to be made in terms of finances and all that. And let's go a bit into family and finances. You know, one of the killer thing in a family is finances. You know, people get married. You know, when people get married, finances sometimes bring a lot of challenges. Do you ladies have maybe an advice on how you can advise, you know, couples living together? How do they manage their funds? How do they control their funds? Should they have a joint account? Should everybody have their own? You know, how do they actually manage their money together so that it doesn't bring any form of conflicts where the husband went and bought the guy's beer and the lady feels like, you know, baby, we were supposed to build a house and all this kind of stuff. What advice can you give?
Okay, I think first and foremost, we should acknowledge that a family is made of two people with different mindsets and different backgrounds and different attitudes about money. So when people come together, they obviously have their different experiences that they are bringing. So for you to be able to work together and be able to achieve what you want to achieve financially, it means you have first to sit and appreciate what each of you think about money. And once you have done that, then you do what you call your setting family goals. Setting family goals is to say, in the short term, this is what you want to achieve as a family. In the medium term, this is what we want to achieve as a family. And in long term, this is what we want to achieve as a family. After you have set your goals, then now it becomes easy for you to set or to work on your budget based on those. The reason why it's important to set goals as a family is the other person will be thinking of going for a vacation and the other one is thinking of, no, we should be building. But if you sit and agree, it means you're going to say, okay, for now, we are not going to go on a vacation because we have to finish building, or there's another project that we are doing. So in a family, people who are, if you are talking about a family or a couple, people should always sit first, communicate their expectations, and then when they build their budget, they should do it jointly so that each and every person agrees to say, this is how we want to spend our money, or this is what we are planning as a family. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's really good. I mean, what's your take, Sheila, on the same as well?
I think family finance should be inclusive, not just the mother and father. Although also the kids should be brought into the picture. As Cathy said, you need to set goals as a family, as one, because you know you are coming from two different backgrounds. You need to sit down, acknowledge that we come from different backgrounds and we have different attitudes towards money. Then from that, you can create a joint goal, which you include the whole family members that are involved. Then besides that, you need to be accountable to each other, because you realize gone are the days when we used to assume the father will do everything. The role of the mother is to just sit and receive, you know. The father is the one who cares how to build the house and all that. It needs to be, we need to become accountable to each other as partners or as a family, such that when I see my partner or husband is kind of deviating, I am accountable to his actions towards money, and I'm able to bring him or her back. We've seen in this pandemic that a lot of couples are complaining, a lot of families are kind of complaining that this one wants to buy needs while I want to buy wants. This comes out because there is no accountability. I don't feel accountable to my kids. I don't feel accountable to my partner. So accountability should be factored in also.
Yeah, because I mean, before when we jump into the question, did you want to add something before I ask? Yeah, please go ahead and add something.
Yes. Yeah, I wanted to say Sheila is very right. So when you still talk of accountability, there have been instances where you sit together, people sit together and they come up with their joint family goals. And if there is no accountability between the partners, you can be assuming that the other person is servicing the mortgage for the house when they are not. And be shocked when you receive letters maybe from your financial institution or things like that. So accountability is to make sure that we are keeping everything on track and each and every person is taking care of their roles as agreed.
Yeah, and I think on my side, maybe what I can add that is also the aspect of being that this time is quite, there's going to be a lot of lucrative ideas or deals and something like that. Maybe a neighbor is selling their car very cheaply, so be like, hey, let's buy this car. I mean, that was not planned. Or somebody is I mean, once people start running out of money, they will actually look at some of the asset and be like, okay, we are going to buy this. So I think what you guys are talking about is quite important, that there must be consultation. People have to come to agree that it's important. Like, yeah, there's this new thing that has come, it's a hot deal, it's a nice car, we can buy it, but did we plan for it? Do we really need it, And I think those are some of the conversation. And before we go maybe to the next, Rachel has just sent, Rachel just asked some question. I'm sure you can be able to see it there. And probably, what do you guys think? How can families cooperate? Kind of accommodate the drastic change in terms of the earnings. I mean, some companies are now cutting almost up to 70% of salaries. How do you change? How do you change when finances are changed? How do you go to other form of lifestyle? I mean, you are earning maybe this amount of money, and then all of a sudden your company says we can't be able to pay you. And how do you do psychologically and even mentally and even planning, in terms of planning purpose? How can you be able to accommodate that? Okay, Cathy, you can go first.
Okay, it's a very unfortunate thing that is obviously going to be happening to a lot of people. So I think one thing that is key when we make your budget is, remember your budget, you should be able to adjust your budget when your circumstances change. So if we are talking about a family unit that has been surviving maybe on 2 joint income, and maybe the other spouse is laid off from work, or maybe they're getting half a salary, it means we now have to go back to the drawing table with our budget and see how we can still make it work with the little income that we are having. So it's a matter of sitting down and cutting costs, because if we are now surviving on 1 salary, it means the income has been cut by half. So families should sit, go back to the drawing table and see what is it that you can compromise on. Because I believe that when your circumstances changed, let's say maybe you earn less or you don't have money at all, it means you need now to adjust your budget. And then the other important thing, I think it takes us back to the issue of having an emergency fund. Yeah. If you have an emergency fund, it now becomes easier for you to tap on it and be able to replenish whatever money that shortfalls that you are having on your budget. And if you don't have it, unfortunately, this is a learning to each and every person to say, you should always have money that you keep somewhere. And I think we can all agree that there's a point during this lockdown where you say, I wish I had savings somewhere. Because if you don't have money and you are not receiving any salary, you don't have any source of income, the only thing that you can fall back on is your savings. And if you don't have that, unfortunately, it becomes very difficult, because even if you are to go and borrow money and all, it's not really sustainable.
Sheila.
Just to add on that, I would say that tough times require tough measures. So if your salary is being cut by 70%, definitely you will need to have a lifestyle change immediately. I know we all say it begins with the mind, but you also need to acknowledge the situation at hand. So for the scenario that you have been provided, I would say that the person needs to readjust their lifestyle. If it calls for you having to move houses, you will have to do that, because we do not really know until when the pandemic is going to end, and it will be very wrong for you to get into massive debt just to maintain a lifestyle. So what I would say, this person needs to first of all reflect on their lifestyle and see what they can adjust to still be able to live within the income they are getting, just in case they did not have an emergency fund.
And I think in addition to that, we should all remember, whether pandemic or not, to stay in our financial lane. So the kind of lifestyle that I'm living should be dictated by the income that I have. So like Sheila is rightfully saying, if your income changes or now you are earning less than you used to, then it means you have to work on changing your lifestyle. Don't try to compete with anyone because you don't know where other people's sources of income. Just make sure that you focus on your life. And if downgrading or changing houses, changing your lifestyle, maybe even changing the school of your kids, it's something that will work for you or your family for now, then just go for it.
And with that, I think what you've said, Cathy, and I think Sabella also talked a little bit about financial emotional intelligence, and how do you deal with the change of finances, the pressure from the family, and all that, because the kind of society we live in. I mean, today you're in a particular level of finances, and tomorrow you go down, and yet there's always that pressure. Or there's also pressure of, like, you want to be in a particular lifestyle. Maybe you cannot be able to maintain it and all that, but there's just that pressure. How do you deal with that particular pressure?
I think it's important for us to come to the realization that our financial journey is not a race. It's your journey. So you should come to a point whereby, whether your income goes high or low, there is a level that you can operate in comfortably. Now, I'm not saying that we deny ourselves so much just because we are scared of the future, but we need to be able to live a life that whatever happens, I'm still able to be the same me. And now this calls to mindset shift, and also changing our circle of friends. Because you see, most people who are influenced financially, they are influenced by their friends who have a very different mindset about money than what you have. So at the end of the day, it's more of understanding that it is your journey, not a competition or a race where this one wins and the other one does not win. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, Cathy. Can you add something on that as well?
Yes, I think each and every person should understand where they are financially. So know your financial journey. And like she's saying, the circle of your friends that you keep are always going to affect your financial decisions. So if you know that you are at a point in your life where maybe you don't have enough money because you are working towards something, or maybe you got retrenched from work, it means if you keep the same kind of friends that you have, or if you keep people who want to always be going to shop, or who are prone to impulse buying, you are going to end up being in debt, because the temptation is you are going to try to keep up with what they are doing. So understand where you are financially, and don't be pressured by anything. Like she said, it's not a race. Don't be pressured by anything. And any decision that you make, okay, what I wanted to say is don't make permanent decisions out of temporary problems. So if you are not working for now, it doesn't mean that you are not going to be working for the rest of your life. At one point, you are going to get that job that you want. It's just like when you graduate from university and maybe you are on an attachment and your friend gets a very good paying job somewhere. It doesn't mean because you are working as an intern and getting maybe an allowance, that means you are going to be there forever. So understand your financial circumstances, live with what you have, adjust your budget accordingly, and stick to that.
I mean, what advice would you guys give somebody who's just starting to save? I mean, it's somebody who's never been saving before, but they're saying, okay, now I want to actually start saving. How much should they start saving, and what would be the process, and what can make that person has to get the habit of continuously saving? Because I think that habit is always a challenge. Like you say, okay, I made up my mind this month I want to save, and then you're able to put something that month, and then next month you'll be like, oh, I think I have some money somewhere, let me go and remove it and spend it. So how do someone start to save, and how do you maintain the habit, and how much should you be able to save? If I'm earning maybe a particular salary, how much do you think somebody should be able to
save? Okay, for someone who is starting to save, we wouldn't really prescribe an amount. First of all, the amount is going to be prescribed by your circumstances. Maybe you are saving because you have a goal. There's something that you want to buy. So it means you are going to sit down and look at your budget and decide, looking at my budget, how much can I set aside monthly to achieve my goal? And then with the issue of discipline, when you are starting to save for the first time, I'll encourage someone to have a fixed account where you have the money being taken from your salary directly. Because when you are trying to build that habit for the first time, if you are going to decide to keep on going to make deposits towards your savings, you are going to fail. But if you have that direct debit through a stop order, then you remain with whatever remains. So there's no way you can be tempted to use the money, because once the money gets in, then whatever you have decided towards your savings will quickly go out, and that's it. So if you know that you are not financially disciplined, that's the best way to go for it.
Yeah, Sheila, what do you think?
Just to add on it, when you're starting to save, the first thing you need to do is to set a goal on why you want to save. The reason why we see most people dropping out of their saving journey is because they don't have a goal on why they are saving. Maybe you find somebody is saving because he or she had his friends or so on social media, somebody is saying they've saved for 6 months a certain amount. So they start doing it without having a clear goal on why they are saving and what are they saving towards. So once you create your goals on why you want to save, then the next step is to see, for example, if I want to save to buy a house, I will know how much I need at the end of a certain period of time. Now, since I know the end goal, I can now look at my financial or my income and see how much can I deduct every month to be able to achieve this goal. Then from there, based on my discipline, if I am still, since I'm starting out, a check-off system, as said by Cathy, would be better, where your money is deducted directly by the bank and transferred to a fixed account. So when you do that, you're able to gain the momentum, discipline, and at the end of it all, you are able to achieve your goal in a very easy way.
Okay. And I mean, women are always good at saving, and most women actually work with, I don't know how you call it in the southern region or in Botswana, but they work with merry-go-rounds, chamas. Here we call them chamas. They work with a lot of circles. They work with microfinances and all that kind of stuff. Would you consider that as a form of saving? And then putting my money. Maybe we can be like maybe 10 of us, and every month maybe we give so and so a particular amount of money, and then it goes around until you reach me. You think that can also be part of kind of like a discipline that can actually enable me maybe save, because every time I'll be targeting, I need to put aside maybe 50 rand every time or maybe let's say 5,000 every time. Is that also a good way of saving?
Yes, that is a good way of saving, and it promotes financial inclusion. You'll find out that most of the time, women who are in the rural areas, or maybe who are doing or working in the informal sector, do not have access to the formal banking systems. So if they want a loan, maybe to expand their businesses, they're not able to get that. So if I have a group of friends and we are 10 in the group, and we agree on certain contributions that we make, we are able to achieve our financial goals through that. So in Botswana here, that is called Motelo, and it's not a new thing. It's something that has always been there. Even our great-grandparents did that. I think the only thing that we need to do with that is making sure that we make sure that their proper records are kept, so that no one gets in the process of losing their hard-earned money. Proper records are kept, and the process of also keeping that money. If it's a group where we keep money and we share the money at the end of the year, let there be proper channels of how that money is kept. Let it not be kept by Cathy under mattress, and there are stories at the end of the year when people are expecting their monies. And records should be kept on how much each person has been contributing and how much they're expecting to get. And then the other thing to leverage on that is we can revolutionize that by coming up with more viable projects that we can do as women, where it's not only maybe towards food or towards getting small loans, but people can grow that to maybe having that group and investing in maybe property. I've seen in other countries, women are able to come up with those projects and build from there, have sustainable sources of income in the long run. So it's something that is good and it's commendable.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Sheila, what's your take in that? Because that's done a lot in Kenya. What's your take in that? And women actually, most of the women have succeeded with that. And then after that, I think we're going to go to our next, almost last question on digital inclusion. I mean, due to this pandemic, how can people still save, using the digital platform, and then how can they also have that, the attitude and the discipline of saving through digital platform? So maybe Sheila can go fast and just give a brief, maybe add to what Kat was saying before, maybe give your aspect in terms of digital as well.
I do support the women group for coming together and saving. I do also encourage for the men to take it up, because it's something that is good, and it ensures that there is accountability of members. So for example, if this month we have contributed to person A, next month you have to be accountable by contributing to the second person. So it is a good thing, and I would recommend that if possible we should even have family groups doing the same, just to help people pull together resources and be able to invest in bigger investments that could take you a long time if you decide to invest singly or as a person or as an individual. Another thing on these groups, or what we call them, chamas, is that they also need to now start embracing technology. Because you find that you could be pulling together a lot of money, which if you invest in, let's say, things like treasury bills, in 3 months, you could get a percentage, an interest or a return on it, then give it to someone. So they should start embracing technology and the various tools of investments that can make the money they pull together to grow before giving it to someone.
Exactly.
So you need me to catch on the digital question?
Yes, the digital question as well, yeah.
Going on the digital question, I think it is a high time everybody started embracing technology, because you see, after this pandemic, things will not be the same again. We are already embracing technology in various industries, and finance is not left out. So as a person, you should start thinking on how can I automate my payment of bills. For example, instead of having to withdraw money to go and pay in the electricity company, you could do it. You could link up your bank account to your electricity billing company. So we should now start thinking on how we can automate our bills, just to help you, even when you are doing your budgeting, you're able to track down your expenses as compared to writing down. Sometimes you write down, then the book disappears, or rain comes and rains on that book, so you don't have records anymore. So,
Exactly.
so when we start to embrace digital platforms that are available, like automating our bills, and another thing is like I'm not sure about the southern part, but like Kenya, we have M-Pesa, right? So we have Mshwari. So you can start embracing Mshwari by starting to save in Mshwari, so that you can get that interest also. So you could put your emergency fund in Mshwari, or any mobile app that is able to give you, even if it's 6% interest on what you save with them.
What you say.
Then another thing is, people now need to embrace downloading digital apps to track their expenses, and also to help them track their goals. There are various apps in the Play Store or Apple Store, where you can digitize your budget. And also you can I saw another one where it helps you put the goal you want. For example, I want to have 10,000 by end of 2020. So this app ensures that you are calculates for you the amount of money you can contribute to achieve this goal. So we need to really embrace these platforms that are available. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, Cathy, before you touch on that, how is Botswana doing in terms of digital financing? I mean, Kenya's really tried so hard with a lot of digital money platforms and all that. How is Botswana doing in that as well?
Okay, there is a lot that is happening as well in our space. There's MyZaka, there's Orange Money. That anyone can use who does not have a bank account. So I think still, if more players could come into that space, a lot of people could be able to utilize or that can help to promote financial inclusion. And then adding on the digital technology question, a lot of financial institutions have come up with apps that you can still be doing everything from the comfort of your home. But I think it will take a mindset shift from people, because even if we have those, you still see, if you go to a bank, you will see that a lot of people will still be queuing to do everything by going to the bank physically. So I think this is time for people to embrace technology and be able to do everything that they want to do, and by utilizing those apps that are provided by banks. And I think one learning that we all get from COVID-19 is we never imagined there would come a time where you'll be locked down in your home, not going anywhere. You can't go to the shops, you can't go to the bank. Like here in Botswana, you need a permit if you want to go outside. We never imagined such a time will come. And I think beyond the pandemic, those are the learnings that we should carry forward. Make sure that you utilize all the virtual platforms that are available. And now the other thing that we've learned, even for individuals and small business owners, you can have a meeting without physically going to someone, like we are having right now. So people should utilize all these technology platforms. Meetings, people can be having virtual meetings through Zoom, through Facebook, through Google, a lot of other platforms that are available. So I think if we can embrace technology, then we can be able to save, we can be able to grow our money, we can be able to grow our businesses. She's already touched on various apps that people can download for saving money, for budgeting, and those help you because you kind of keep yourself accountable. You are able to track, and the app is able to track your progress if you are doing well towards achieving your goal, or if you are slacking down, and what is it that you can do. So technology becomes a very important aspect at this time.
Oh, that's nice. I mean, as we are actually winding up, I think this is going to be our last question before we have a closing remarks from you two. Looking, what are some of the opportunities that you think people need to look out in terms of investment opportunity? What do you have some lucrative opportunities that people can actually invest into? Maybe stock market, or maybe what kind of stock market? Maybe money market, fund, or I mean whatever. What are some of the ways, maybe real estate, what do you think would be more lucrative for people to actually be able to invest on? And again, obviously depending with the amount of money they have. So if it's maybe short-term investment, just as you explained, short-term, long-term, and all that, what are some of the opportunities that you think would be quite lucrative to invest into?
Okay, I think for now, what would be lucrative to invest on, it will be, the stock market. Most companies, the shares have gone down. So if you've been really looking into investing in the stock market, this is the perfect time because you are going to buy your shares at a very low price. And then if we look into investing in real estate or buying property, so I think between now and the end of the year, we are going to see also prices for property going down. So if you want to buy property now, this is the opportunity for you to buy because we are going to see prices going down. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Sheila.
Yes, as Cathy said, this is the best time to invest in the stock market, especially for blue chip companies. We have seen some blue chip companies, their shares going down by almost 50%. So if you've always wanted to invest in the stock market and you have the financial capacity, then go for it and go in hard. And also real estate is something nice to invest in right now, and also towards the end of the year as people will start like disposing of their properties because they need money to survive. And maybe I would say it is not the right time to invest in government papers.
Bonds
it's not
and
the
all
right
that.
time. Yeah. There is a lot of uncertainty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's nice. So thank you very much. I don't know. I think we touched most of the question that Sabella is trying to ask, but maybe you guys can just read through, and if there's anything that maybe Cathy can handle or Sheila, be free to go ahead. I'm sure you've been able to read. Yeah. So what do you think, Cathy? Why have you been able to understand the question?
Sheila, would you want to take it?
Yeah, it's fine. I can take it. What I can say is that there's a saying I always say: never invest with grocery money. Now, grocery money is like emergency fund. You shouldn't invest with money meant for your emergency fund. Yes, there is the hulabaloo of everybody saying it's the right time to invest, but it trickles down to you as an individual. Sit down by yourself, check your finances, ask yourself if this pandemic is going to be there for the next 12 months. Would it be worthwhile for me to take my emergency fund right now and put it in stock markets or in my investment, then go hungry for the next 12 months? Doesn't make sense, right? So it is more of, don't use your emergency fund to catch, don't try to hit one bird with two stones. If it's emergency fund, just let it remain to be emergency fund. If you want to invest, then look for other sources of income that you can use to invest, but don't touch the emergency fund now.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
if you want to invest now and you don't have risk capital, then it means you are not ready to invest. And like she said, if you are going to take if you are going to tap into your emergency account and use that money, and next thing maybe the pandemic takes the end of the year, or in the process you lose your job, then it means you are going to be left stranded. So emergency fund should be used for emergencies. So don't take the money from an emergency fund and invest with it. And like I said when I started, emergency funds, whenever you decide to invest, remember to use risk capital. If you are using an emergency fund and you lose the money that was in an emergency fund, it means should anything happen, you are going to be left stranded. So look for risk capital, and that is what you can use to invest.
Wow, it's been a great discussion, and thank you very much, ladies. Thank you very much, Cathy from Botswana. Thank you very much, Sheila, from Kenya as well. And yeah, probably you guys could, as you give your parting shot, you can probably say how somebody can be able to reach out to you, maybe your organization, if you have a Facebook page, if you have a website. Yeah, just let our audience know how they can actually be able to reach to get in touch with you.
Okay, so if you want to reach out to us, our website is www.flt for Financial Literacy Trust, fltbotswana.co.bw. Yes, www.flt initials for Financial Literacy Trust. Yes, Botswana.co.bw. And then our email is info.
.w, right?
Yes. And then our email is info BW.
Okay.
Yes.
Then your email is
info@fltbotswana.co.bw.
Okay, that's cool. So info at
FLT Botswana. And then since we are also doing
just come up again, just go ahead.
Yes, and then our Facebook page is Financial Literacy Trust. I wanted to say, since we are also in the pandemic where we are encouraging people to use more of these visual platforms, people can also contact us through WhatsApp. The number is +267 77 00 6923 +267 77 00 6923.
Just say again, +267
77
77
00
00
6923
6923.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, or they can still inbox us through our Facebook page. It's called Financial Literacy Trust.
Oh, perfect. Okay, that's fine. And I will also make sure that they get all that contact through this chat as well, through this conversation as well. Sheila, please, you can go ahead.
Yeah, for those who'd like to reach us, our Facebook page is Financial Wellness Center. You could also write us an email on info@financialwellnesscenter.co.ke. And as well, you can connect with us on WhatsApp, +254 702 091 970.
+254. Please repeat the number. +254 702 091 091
970.
970. Okay, I think that's really good, and make sure that we also share your links on this chat so that probably those who are not on can be able to check it out. So anyway, thank you very much. I think it's been quite good discussion, and thanks for agreeing to join us for this conversation. We hope to probably have another conversation sometime, either this month or next month. Depends with what people will like.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.